is Farine. This is my project called Budget Buddy, which I developed in collaboration with Group 56. The features that I've done are login and registration and a blog page. This is what the front end of the website looks like. So here we have login and register. The first thing that you would do is register. So you click on this register button and it takes you to this form. This form is included in my register JSX files, and this is the form. So the user would have to input a name, an email, and a password. What I have done to connect the front end to the back end is I've added this axios.post. So the post I have configured in securityconfig.java, and I've allowed this method, which takes it to the database, which is localhost 8080. And this is what the form looks like. So if it's successful, then you can now log in and it should send a 201. If the registration has failed, then the user would get a message. So I'm going to try and register and then check in the database if my credentials are saved. So I'm going to put my name down. Sorry. Put my name, my email, and a password in the database. So registration successful, you can now log in. If we inspect and go to the network tab, we should be getting a 200 OK response. So inspect. I'm going to check my network tab and I'm going to again register. And it sends a 200 OK from when I registered previously. And because I did register and it said registration successful, then it says that the email already exists because it is already in the database. Now I'm going to check my H2 console. And I'm going to run the SQL statement to check if I am actually saved in the database and then if my credentials are useful to log in later on. So app users run. And that is my email, that's my name, and that's the password, which is hashed, which I have done using the user service, private final bcrypt password encoder. So when the user's credentials are saved in the database, we can't see their password. We also have here the register a new user. So they have their name, their password, and the email as we've seen before. In the account credentials, again, email or name, password, and in my auth controller.java, I have the post mapping method here with my endpoint being the register. And this is what the response entity is. So 201 for a successful registration, and then just a bad request for a failed registration. Email may already be taken. So now I'm going to try and log in. So this is the post mapping for the login. This is the endpoint. So user could not be found. It sends a 404, but it should send a 200 OK if you have successfully signed up. For the login, I've used the GWT tokens. So whenever a user will log in, they have a token that's assigned to their email. This is my authentication method. My GWT service Java, the service Java. With the login, I also have that the token can get saved in the local store. So here, token in navigates to home. This line here, local storage dot set item token, saves it. And this is what it sends to the backend. So the post method, whenever I log in, will send it to the backend. And then if the response status is okay, so if the credentials match with whoever has signed up, and for example, what I've just showed, then it should show a 200 response. So I'm going to try and sign in. So I'm going back home, log in, and I'm entering my email and I'm entering my password, which I have previously registered with. 4. login, and then it logs into all the features, and this is what the console looks like. So there is a 200 OK, 200 OK, and then all of this is whenever the user logs in, then they are unlocking the features. So if I go to my H2 database, I'm still in the database. I have my unique user ID, and I also have my token in the console, so my login token. So if I run the console, then that's my GWT token. For the login, I also have the DTO, which represents the data structure that the login needs to have. So this is what the login request looks like. So email or name and a password is, so for example, if I go back home, so if I want to register and I enter, let's say, my name, and then in the email, I don't add anything and I say gmail.com and I add my password. So, and then I try registering this. So please include an @ in the email address. Once I add it, then I am successfully logged in, as we can see here, 200 OK. And the same thing happens with the login. So if I try logging in, the @ here, and then I just put my password, then it prompts me to put an @. So then once I put the @, I have done the endpoint. So when the login is successful, it sends you directly to all the features that you can access for the website. Next, after logging in, we have the blog, which is another feature that I have implemented. The blog is basically just creating reviews, submitting reviews, and talking with other users. Once you've logged in, you would find this homepage that redirects you after a successful login. Press blog, and this is what the blog front end looks like. For blog, I have done that using the JSX and blog CSS. So this is what my JSX and my CSS files look like. This is my CSS, and this is my blog page JSX file. So for my JSX file, I wanted to add some dummy testimonials. So it looks like a review page, which is over here. Then I imported the CSS and I imported Axios to connect it to the back end. So this is what the form looks like. So it's just a very simple handle commit submit. You will write a comment before submitting. Once you submit a comment, once you submit a comment, then it posts the comment to the back end, which is 8080 API reviews, and that is the endpoint. And it should send a OK message. I have also set a rating, so it's 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. So as you can see in my security config.java, and I've done this for all the features that I have implemented because I used Thunder Client to check before I checked using my front end. So I have allowed this methods get, post, put, delete, and options just to check that everything is running correctly before I open my front end. So then for the backend of my blog page, I have my review controller, which has the request mapping and the endpoint for the reviews, for submitting a review, saving the review to the repository, and getting all the reviews. So these are all the methods, and the reviews repository as well. Review.java, this is all the credentials that you will need when you're making a review. So you will only need content and rating. The ID is generated. So let's say I'm the first one to create a review. So the ID is 1. The second person that does it, the ID is 2. And that's how the ID is generated. So you just get content and rating. For my review service, you save the review and you get all reviews. So now I'm going to try and submit a review or submit a comment. So I go over here, share your thoughts, and connect with the community. And I'm going to write, I'm enjoying this app. And then I'm going to give it a rating of 1. Now I'm going to give it a rating of 4. And I'm going to submit my comment. Once I submit, 200 OK response in my network tab, and it says that my comment has been submitted. So now that we've seen this, I'm going to check in my database if the comment is actually saved. So I'm going to run my review SQL statement, select from review table, and I'm going to check if it's saved. So because I am the third person that has put a review, my ID is 3, my content is what I've written in the review, and this is my rating. On the blog page, I have also added this link to the survey, the take me to the survey. It takes me to the survey. Then if I want to go back and then let's say, want to go home, then I press this button and it takes me back. To add the link for the user to the budgeting SQL, where I created the table for my reviews and for the users. So this is the create table users. So the ID, their name, their email, and their password is all that we can see in the H2 console. And then I have the create table reviews. So again, the ID, the content, and the rating. Again, this is all that we can see, 3 of them. And added this, which is go home link. So whenever the user has done, they don't want to write any more reviews. They just want to go back to the home page to, let's say, unlock other features, or they want to log in again. They press this and then they go back to the home page. Thank you.